Am I wrong for asking my ex to pay child support I think he owes? My ex and I were married for about 10 years, and during the entire marriage, he brought home about 10% of the income. He had this thing about not working for anyone but himself, so he started one failed business after another. The one good thing about my ex is his work ethic, and he worked at least 100 hours a week on his businesses, and sometimes he would sleep for only a couple of hours a day. That meant that I was both the breadwinner and did most of the work raising our daughters. We fought constantly until I finally had enough of feeling like a single parent, so I divorced him. In the divorce, he agreed to not sue for child support and alimony. In turn, I agreed to not move the girls more than 50 miles from him. I eventually remarried to a wonderful man and had 3 more children. My new life is wonderful with a partner who contributes equally. My husband works a normal job, helps raise our children, helps out with housework, and loves my daughter as his own. My ex's business took off, and he's now firmly in the 1%. He bought his parents a $1 million home. He also bought himself a $1 million house just for the location, tore down the house, and built a bigger house on the land. He's fully paying for our oldest daughter's college, and intends to pay for the younger one when she goes next year. The problem is, my husband got laid off about 6 months ago, and due to the state of the economy, has been unable to find another job in his field. Money is getting tight, and we had a discussion. He brought up the fact that my ex was a deadbeat during our marriage, and now that he's doing well, he owes me money. I agreed, so I brought it up to my ex and asked him to pay me for all of the years I paid for him. He had the audacity to actually laugh in my face. We got into a huge argument, and now our daughters are mad at me. I told them they're too young to remember me paying for all of the groceries and our rent. They're too young to remember the weeks upon weeks that I was the only one home to take care of them. I told them they see their dad as he is now, not as the guy back then who begged me for gas money. I'm not asking him for money out of the blue. I supported him for 10 years and basically raised our girls alone. I think he owes me for that and told him so. Now for the top comments. You're the idiot. Asked him to pay me for all of the years I paid for him. That's not how it works. You cannot ask for your money back. You accepted to financially support him at the time, and unless you have a contract with him, he doesn't owe you anything. The only thing he owes you is the child support a judge or a mediator will decide is fair. No more, no less. Also, he agreed not to sue you for child support years ago when he was poor. If you decide to go in front of a judge for child support, the judge will take those years of you not paying into account, and you might end up having to pay him big time. The ex made 10% of her income, so he was definitely due alimony and child support. If they go in front of a judge now, I don't think it'll go the way she thinks. You're the idiot. God, you're the idiot. The sheer audacity to ask for child support when he's already fully paying for both kids' education, just because he got lucky with one business. And let's be clear here, don't call this child support because this isn't about the kids, it's about your money-grubbing entitlement. He doesn't owe you anything. You're the idiot. He doesn't owe you anything. You two were married, things didn't work out, and the two of you made an agreement and went your separate ways. And he's fully paying for both daughters' school now. The problem is my husband got laid off about 6 months ago, and due to the state of the economy, has been unable to find another job in his field. Then tell him to get a job in a different field, even if it's less lucrative. He called your ex-husband a deadbeat and you agreed, despite him working 100-hour weeks. Maybe your current husband who hasn't worked at all in 6 months and won't get a job in a different field is the deadbeat. I'm not asking him for money out of the blue. I supported him for 10 years and basically raised our girls alone. I think he owes me for that and told him so. You never thought that until your current unemployed husband brought it up. Next story. Am I wrong for refusing to pay child support to my ex-wife for our children so she and her husband can save for their other kids? My ex-wife and I are the parents of a daughter who is 17 and a son who is 15. We share custody of our kids 50-50, and we have been divorced for 13 years now. Neither of us pays child support because we have equal time with the kids, and we split the costs of everything: school, medical, dental, extracurriculars, etc. I opened up bank accounts for my kids when each was born, and I have saved from the get-go, but around 8 or so years ago, I came into some money because I was injured at work, and I put that money into their accounts. As well as this, a relative died 4 years ago, and I was left a sum of money that also went into the accounts for my children. The money I have now saved for them will help them tremendously in their futures, whether they go to college or not. My ex-wife remarried several years ago. Her stepdaughter is 16, she's got a nephew of her husband's that they are raising who is 14, and she has a 7 and 5-year-old with her husband. Ex-wife wanted to talk to me about college for our kids, and she told me that she and her husband had told all their kids that community college would be the most affordable option for them, and that they would get as much help as possible, but a more expensive school would be tough on them. I told her that our kids would have that option if they wanted it, because I have saved a more than healthy amount for them. She asked me why I never told her sooner, and I told her because I was taking care of our children, and it wasn't something she needed to know. A few days after this talk, she called me, and alongside her husband, said that they would like me to pay child support for our kids so that they can save more money for their other children's futures. I told her I was not going to pay her child support, just so she could support the other children in her home. Her husband told me I could always offer to split the money between all of the children. I told him I was not paying for his kids to go to college. I told them I only had a responsibility to my children. I told them if they wanted to save more money, I would happily take the kids more if my kids want to spend more time at home with me. Ex-wife called me cruel and said keeping 50-50 and paying money so our kids' siblings can go to college should be a no-brainer for me. I told her the day I have an obligation to help her support her entire household is a day in another universe where we never broke up. But we did, and she has to accept she is equally responsible for our kids as me. They both told me I was a jerk, and even though I feel like I'm crazy for asking, I must ask, am I wrong? Edit to add, the courts did not order child support because I only make a little more than my ex-wife, and I was well below the threshold they used to determine child support in 50-50 custody cases. I have control of the money. My children are aware it is there and we have talked about it, but they are still undecided on their future plans. They do not have access to the money yet. Not wrong. Also, I'd be extra careful with the college funds. Your kids could be bullied into sharing with their step and half siblings in the future. This OP needs to keep control of the money. Pay the college bills, tuition, room, etc. directly for the first year or so. If he passes all the money to his kids, they may be pressured to give some to the other kids. My son's grandmother left a substantial amount of money to my son's dad, and he allocated a large amount for my son to get a start in life, which included covering college and money left over for major expenses including a down payment on a house in the future. My ex would give my son essentially a payday twice a month for my son's needs, and it was adjusted based on my son's expenses when he moved into an apartment etc., but only allocated large amounts based on needs such as tuition etc. It worked out well while my son was in college. This is an excellent option, and therefore is a good way to maintain control of the money. Not wrong, and they are trying to sucker you into paying for their kids. Don't budge. Her ex and her husband are on different planets. Paying child support for their kids is easier for them than for you, and you can't afford to send their kids to college. We take no responsibility for any of their abilities. The claims they make here are absolutely amazing. Next story. Am I wrong for telling my sister that neither her nor her family are welcome to celebrate Christmas with us? I, 32 female, am a mother of 2 kids, 5 female and 2 male. I do not get along with my family. Actually, I've been no contact with my parents for more than 10 years. My husband, 35 male, grew up in the system his whole life, so when we got serious, we dreamed of having the picture-perfect family life that we didn't have while growing up. I have been doing everything I can to make Christmas magical for my small family. Every room is decorated including bathrooms, elaborate lights and decorations on the outside. I stuff advent calendars, make cookies almost every day, matching pajamas, postcards for our friends and so on. Also, we go all out on gifts for our kids. I reconnected with my sister last year. We talk online and have had one face-to-face meeting when she visited my city. She is also married with 3 kids all under 12. Her husband is unemployed, she works retail, and they have a ton of medical debt. I guess she has been going through my social media lately, and she has seen how we celebrate Christmas in our house. Then she contacted me, and after a couple of minutes, she said that they were planning to spend Christmas with us as a gift. I said that I appreciated her gesture, but that Christmas for us is just for our small family. We do not like to include the extended family. She kept insisting that it would be fun, and that my kids would absolutely love to celebrate with their cousins. My kids have never even met their cousins. I kept insisting that it would not be possible for us, and then she switched tones and started telling me that they couldn't afford Christmas for their kids, that they just wanted the kids to have a fun holiday for once. I sympathized with her, but told her again that it would not be possible for them to spend Christmas with us. Then she asked me for some money to help with Christmas expenses. I told her that we do not have any extra funds this month, but that I have a $100 budgeted for gifts for her family that I could send her. She asked for more, but I turned her down. That was when she got angry at me. She said that I was a selfish witch, that it wasn't fair that her kids would not get to celebrate Christmas while I am throwing money out the window on my vanity project of a house. I hanged up on her, then sent her this exact text: "I am sorry that you and your family are struggling, but I will not be sacrificing our family traditions for your ease. I will be sending you a $100 as a gift for the kids, but neither you nor your family are welcome to our family Christmas. I will expect an apology when you cool down, otherwise don't bother contacting me again." I still stand behind my decision to not have them celebrate with us, but I am feeling guilty for how I worded it. So am I wrong for using the phrase, "You nor your family are welcome to our family Christmas"? Now for the top comments. Not wrong. You don't have to invite her, and it's pretty entitled how she tried to invite herself. You set your boundaries and put your family time first. That's completely fine. Your sister needs to mind her own business. Right. Also, how much you want to bet she'd expect OP to buy extra presents for her kids so they don't feel left out? So you said you reconnected last year. Was it over social media? I'm thinking she reached out just because she saw you were doing better and might be a good mark. Not wrong, this woman is just a leech. You reacted exactly right and stick to your guns. The more you give into this woman, the more she's gonna expect. She is jealous and after handouts. You have worked hard as a family unit, so you deserve your happiness without letting jealousy ruin the happiness of you and your family. Not wrong. Not only is it rude to invite you and your family over, it's worse to insist on it after being refused. No is no. This is how you get no contact like you just did. And the $100 is very generous. I wonder why her husband is unemployed. That is likely part of the reason why they are not having a good Christmas. And many of your vanity projects for Christmas can be done fairly inexpensively yet look pricey, especially if you do it yourself and get goods at sales and thrift stores. She doesn't know how much you spent, etc. I hope she doesn't know where you live. They may show up as a surprise Christmas gift, so be ready if it happens. If they show up out of nowhere, they will not be getting in, and might even get the police called on them for trespassing. Absolutely this. We had a family member who was notorious for just showing up to crash at families' homes. He was beyond offended when he tried that and got escorted by the cops off my property. Last story. Am I wrong for not sharing ownership of my dream car with my boyfriend? I entered my current relationship with a car I purchased while I was in college. At the time, my boyfriend did not have a driver's license or vehicle of his own. For a year, I pushed for him to get his license, offered to teach him in the little banger I had, even drove him to the DMV and bought the book for his G&M license. He neglected to even open them. After getting tired of paying for repairs on this car, a 2008 Yaris, I decided to go to a dealer and trade it for a newer car, a 2016 Juke. Again, I offered to teach him to drive and pushed him to take the test for his G1. After almost a year of owning the new car, he finally went and got the G1, and I started giving him driving lessons. But after a year, I got a job making far more money than I had been, and had also saved multiple years' worth of tax returns to be able to put a down payment on the car of my dreams, a 2-door Wrangler for off-roading. My boyfriend is atrocious with money, has been bankrupt in the past, overspent on money to the point of me needing to cover 100% of bills, often leaving me to make the choice between making a car payment or pay for groceries. We had a plan to purchase him a car with a loan he was approved for, but in his time off, spent all $15,000 of it. Frustrated, I drove to a Jeep dealer and traded the Juke for a Wrangler, making myself the sole owner of the vehicle, not wanting to have his irresponsibility affect my credit any longer. He blew up, saying that the Juke was his, and it was the car he was supposed to learn to drive in, and I was supposed to keep it and keep making payments on it so he could have a car too. Angry, I told him he wasn't allowed to drive the Wrangler, mostly because her is very neglectful on the road, and I had upgraded to steel front and rear bumpers and didn't want him to off someone. I made him borrow a friend's accent to learn and get his G2. I feel like the a-hole for not including him on the purchase, nor allowing him to use it when we are in a relationship, but felt my financial responsibility deserved to be rewarded and protected. You need to dump him. He's entitled, completely untrustworthy with money, mooching off of you shamelessly, and too incompetent to drive. Not wrong, but why the heck are you still with him? Can you seriously see a future with this person? There is no future with this dude. Not marriage nor kids. And not even next month's rent or groceries. Why stay? Yo. OP, your boyfriend is like a 2008 Yaris. He got the job done, but mostly you're just dumping money in to keep him alive. He's not a partner, he's a dependent. Now, imagine going out to the boyfriend dealer and picking out a new one. He'd have that new boyfriend smell. You can get one with steel-toed boots, which is great for rough terrain. Maybe find one who also likes being smart with money. You've got a chance to upgrade here. Not wrong if you take it. Did you really have to ask if you're an idiot for not putting your boyfriend's name on a car you 100% paid for? I hope you're like 19. I'm 26. I probably have myself to thank for everything I allow after not seeking proper help post fleeing a violent relationship. I am being medicated for anxiety and PTSD now though. Listen, I think people throw this accusation around on this sub too much, but I'm gonna say this because you have a history of intimate partner violence. His implying he was entitled to your car because he wanted to use it, and becoming enraged as a result, feels very much like the early stages of emotional mistreatment to me. Ask yourself honestly if you're downplaying his controlling and manipulative tendencies, because they're not as bad as the physical harm you've suffered before. I have a strong hunch that's what's going on. You should get the heck out. You know it won't get better, and it will probably get worse.